Calls aren't going through to the CRA, and the union workers say it's because the people who make the decisions are absolute morons. Or at least they would say that if they didn't adhere to the strictest of expectations around professionalism. But I don't work for the CRA anymore, so I'll say it. The people who make the decisions at the top of the CRA are absolutely clueless. What am I talking about? Well, the CBC is reporting that the CRA is only answering about 5% of incoming calls. I get more responses than that on Grindr. You're telling me that the CRA's call center is more picky than the average gay dude who's given up on love? Yeah. So what's the reason? Is it a buggy phone system or something like that? No. The problem is management, not the direct supervisors. If you have ever taken calls for a living, you'll know that most direct supervisors aren't total morons. They realize that the only way that they look good is if they don't cause the people who report directly to them to lose all hope and decide that working at McDonald's has more dignity. No, the problem is higher up than that. I don't know exactly how many levels higher, but I do know that there are a few major problems. Some people are making way more money than the people who they are fucking with, and they are delusional and keep thinking that if they try and force a paradigm that can't possibly work onto hard-working people whose parents didn't buy them horses for their birthdays, that it'll somehow just work. People who actually work for a living cannot work hard enough to make up for your incompetence. So my understanding, based on some digging, is that people taking calls have no max time for the calls. They're not supposed to just end the call after they fix one issue. So since there aren't enough people taking calls, the various accountants who call the CRA with questions end up having lists that go on for kilometers, and they can take multiple hours to sort through in just one call. And of course, the accountant is not going to hang up because, again, most of the time when they call, nobody is picking up. So when they get someone, they will hold on for dear life. And someone higher up thinks that it's a good idea to tell supervisors to threaten to fire their best employees because the people higher up made a bad system that the employee is just trying to struggle to do a good job in. Here's the thing, when you cut staffing on people who answer phone calls for important services, whether you're private or public sector, the work that you had them doing doesn't just go away. People don't call the CRA to tell them that they think they're nifty. They call because they have reasons to call. And if headquarters knows that last year there were X number of calls, they ought to know that there will be even more calls this year because people keep having babies and the government keeps approving people to move to the country. Also, the CRA's documentation tends to be absolutely terrible. I am so glad that I never have to hear another person tell me to read the Tom. That joke's gonna really land hard with like a few people. Second, the type of people who end up being put in charge of call centers, people get picked to run call centers not because they're the best and the brightest, but because they are terrible at telling dumb people who want to think they're smart that their ideas are insane.